Hello and welcome to this video, Brexit Simplified, Problems, Solutions, and a Way Forward. All right, so basically what we are doing here is just trying to get on. So this is another day. I'm just trying to get this video that that talks about the fact that the no deal was actually already on the table for the UK. So that means that when the Brexit vote was won by the United Kingdom, the EU actually already agreed to a free trade agreement. And anyway, let me just not talk about it yet. Let us first of all watch the video. So this video, I mean, you can find it. I'm going to link it below as well. This is ex-Brexit Minister Steve Baker blows the lead on why we don't have a free trade agreement already. Let's watch the video.
But all the ministers came together in our conference room and were briefed on the kind of exit we could have. Either what I would characterise as a high alignment Brexit, something like the EEA plus something like the customs union, or a normal advanced free trade agreement. And after going to and fro through the briefing, all of the ministers in the department together decided that we wanted a normal advanced free trade agreement because that would be the kind of Brexit which would fulfil the mandate of the referendum and indeed the mandate of the preceding speeches, the mandate of the general election. Our officials looked somewhat crestfallen. Clearly the advice was to go for a high alignment Brexit. And then subsequently, in a sense, the rest is history because the European Union then offered us that kind of Brexit. President Tusk's offer on behalf of the Council included an advanced free trade agreement.
Therefore, it should come as no surprise that the only remaining possible model is a free trade agreement. I propose that we aim for a trade agreement covering all sectors and with zero tariffs on goods. Like other free trade agreements, it should address services.
Now, the reason I mention this is that the constant refrain throughout the time, my time in government, was this atmosphere of reluctance to leave. And I think this is at the heart of the problem. While we won the vote, we did not win the argument for want of a better term, I would call the governing class. So we've ended up with those who govern being forced to do that which they must, take us out. But it's not that which they choose. And that suffuses the entire approach. The entire approach is suffused by a reluctance to deliver what the public wanted, which is us controlling our wars in our parliament with all of that.
All right, so there you go. I mean, what else can we say? So, okay, so what the previous video showed is that we already had this. So no deal was already not an option. The EU, when the vote came in and Brexit won that referendum, already proposed an advanced free trade agreement. I'm going to call it AFTA, Advanced Free Trade Agreement, which is this, which is exactly what we want. Yeah? Which is exactly what we want. But the elites, I don't know if it's bureaucrats, I don't know who they are, in the political sphere of the United Kingdom decided to betray. It's a betrayal, isn't it? I mean, is there any other way to say it? When, number one, the people, 17.4 million of us, or of them, because I voted to remain, but 17.4 million people within the UK voted to leave. Then there was different, talks and, during the election, different Brexit related manifestos that were put together, put across by the different parties that said, when we come in, we are going to leave the EU. And then you add the Article 50 as well that says, come what may. I like that word may, come what may. On the 29th of March, the UK will leave the European Union. And here is the European Union already giving us the way that we are to leave. I mean, I used to think that the deal on the table right now is something that actually came from the European Union because of their intention to enslave the UK. That was my thought before. But what I've realized going forward is that it might be something that was actually brought up by the British. Wow, that is terrible. By the British political class, i.e., a trade deal that everybody knows will never pass. And if it passes, then if we're stupid, basically what they're saying is that we're stupid enough to make it pass, then we will be slaves forever. Mrs. May, come on. Are you British? Are you actually British? So basically what they're saying is that no, EU, don't give them what they want. Don't give them this. This makes it too easy. EU have already said, you could hear Tusk saying, we will give them a free trade agreement. He already said it. So, so somebody must have gone to tell him, look, there's something else that can be done instead of a free trade agreement. I mean, who told him? Was it? I mean, I heard that Tony Blair is going to speak to him. I hear that. I mean, I don't know the way that May signed that thing so quickly. I mean, I'm not calling names. I'm just saying things out there. I mean, if they've already agreed to what we want as a people, why did we not take it? Why, like the gentleman just said, why did we decide to go for something that keeps us locked in closer or whatever to the EU? In my opinion, everybody that is a member of the British political class that stopped that AFTA, that Advanced Free Trade Agreement, from going through, they must be brought to justice. They must be brought to account as to what it is that made them go against this gentleman here. That same gentleman needs to be brought back. So people need to be brought to account as to what made them turn down this advanced free trade agreement that now Japan has with no problem. That means that we're not even going to be paid the 15 billion per year anymore. I mean, come on. And go for this total and utter nonsense. So some people need to be brought to account for that betrayal, because that decision to not go for this and go for that is why we are in this kind of problems that we are now, is why the UK is now going to be paying 39 to 50 billion, is why the backstop exists, is why there's a potential for the UK to be a slave state. So that decision is criminal. That decision to not go for this and go for this is a criminal decision. And the people that were behind that, I do not care how high in the political spectrum. They could be the Lord's chief advisor of the EU or the House of Lords. I do not care. The people of the United Kingdom voted for something. What they voted for was already offered, and someone said, no, we are not going to give the British people what they want. We're going to give them something that means that they will never leave the European Union. That, folks, is what is called betrayal. And at this particular point, I mean, if one listening and watching this video is British, and it doesn't matter whether you voted to leave or to remain, surely you must understand that what the current people in our political class, the elite, what they've done is unacceptable. I mean, this is not about leave or remain. This is about putting your children and your grandchildren in slavery for what? For what? Why? For what? You know? Um, they want a closer union. They want a closer relationship with the EU. So they want us to be here. Now, let us go one step further, yeah, and say that we are currently in the EU, yeah. If at the time when David Cameron proposed for a solution to the quote to the free movement of people, if the EU decided that they were going to look into the problem, and yes, since it was a big problem, they were going to do something about it, all this would not have happened. So is it the fault of the UK that the EU refuses to listen? No. No. It's not the fault of the UK. It's not the fault of the Brexiteers. It's not because they are, what's it called? Um, it's not because they're xenophobic. It's not because they're racist. No. If they listened when David Cameron said, "Look, we have a problem in our country." My first video that a lot of you probably hasn't seen on this series talks about how the forecast of the increase in the UK population from 2015, I think, to 2045 was going to go up by 20 million people, from 65 million to around 80 something million in less than like 10 years. 50. This country has existed for over 1,000 years, maybe in this current form, say 300 and something years in this current form, and there's 65 million people in the country, and then within between 10 and 20 years, that number is going to go up by 20 million. That's a problem. It's too quick. It's too fast. So, could the EU have done something about it? Yes. They could have. They could have listened. They could have said, okay, these are the different solutions possible. Choose one. And there would have been no Brexit. There will have been no referendum. There will have been nothing. So, why should we now be made to suffer for the EU's negative decision? Yeah? That is the question. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I've already talked in a previous video, about the vision of the EU. So the vision of the EU is about, the destruction or the removal of member states, of member countries for the creation, of a centralized Europe. So no more United Kingdom, no more France, or maybe France can still exist, United Kingdom can still exist, but it's going to be a name like New York. I mean, and not like New York and and Florida inside like a United States of Europe, like a United States of America. Nobody wants that here. Everybody wants their member states, member nations. That's what everybody wants here. So that's one of the vision. Obviously, we've heard about EU army. We've heard about EU tax, EU taxes. I've spoken about that already in the previous video. Obviously, the EU laws have already been done already. So you see what these individuals are chasing. They're chasing centralization and all this other nonsense that doesn't matter. What the power of this bloc called the European Union is trade. Trade. That is what the UK joined the European Union for. If the vision of the European Union was trade related, i.e., how can we get more trade? How can we empower ourselves more? How can we do more? Then it would be stupid for anybody to leave the EU or want to leave the EU. But the vision is not about trade, is it? It's about domination. It's about control. It's about things that, that we do not stand for in this country. When I'm talking about trade, the next video I'm going to make is going to really analyze the no deal scenario as it is. So we're not talking about what we want, which is this one, which is a fantastic utopia. This is utopia. Utopia. This is what the people voted for. This is what the people want. And this thing here is very easy for us to get because we currently have a trade deficit. What a trade deficit means is that, to simplify what a trade deficit means, that it means that you sell more to me than I sell to you. So you need me more than I need you. The UK has a trade deficit with the EU. And if you compare the population, so let's look at world population here. The United Kingdom is currently 66 million people. Yeah? All right. In 2019, 66 million people, so we've grown by over almost 2 million people we've grown by. Can you imagine that? In over just 1 or 2 years. But look at United States of America, 328 million people. Can you see that? 328 million people compared to 66 million people. And the United Kingdom is the second. I don't think I have the I don't think I have the I don't think I have the it's the second largest. The United Kingdom is the second largest Okay, let's look at European trade. Oh no, I don't want images. So the European Union is the second largest trading bloc. When it comes, the United Kingdom is the second largest trading bloc when it comes to the EU. So we have America, which obviously is the first. Then we have the UK. By countries. Let me search by countries. So okay. So exports. Okay, where's the United Kingdom? So these are the U.S. exports. So this is not our. Is this exports to the EU? This is not the. So if it's to the EU, the United Kingdom will not be present here. I have a different, I have a different, I have a different spreadsheet anyway that shows that outside of, if you just don't consider EU trading with each other and see how, you know, different countries are trading with the EU, what you will find is that the UK is the second largest trading partner with the EU. Um, apart from the apart from the apart from the US. All right, I will come to that list shortly, but let me go on to talk about um, GDP, like what countries are making. Obviously, GDP, I don't fully understand it, but when you want to measure how much the economy or the people working within the country, how much is growing by, then the GDP is one of the things you look at. You want to also look at how wealthy each individual person in the country is, or you want to look at how you want to look at how much tax is being taken by each country. But if you look here, you see that the GDP of the United States leads the world, 19 trillion. And the United States has less people than China. It's got 328 million people. 328 million people. China has 1 trillion people. You see, 1.4 trillion. My goodness. Even the point 0.4 is still more than the United States. Oh my God. All right. But look at that. 1.4 trillion people, 328 million people in the United States. But look at the GDP of the United States. $19 trillion. Yeah? $19 trillion. Look at China. $12 trillion. The only country in the whole of the European Union that rivals the UK is Germany. $3 trillion. Look at Japan. Japan almost 5 trillion. Japan is just by itself in the middle of nowhere at the end of the earth next to China. It's just by itself. Okay, I was actually quite shocked when I saw the population of Japan. I thought it was too small, but there's a lot of people in Japan though. Where's Japan? That's Japan. So 126 million people. So that's just like around double what you have in the UK. Fine, double what you have in the UK. But look at China. The way their GDP has grown is what we are supposed to be thinking about. This is what the European Union is supposed to be thinking about. Is to say, if China can grow by this much, in 1950 the GDP was 1 trillion or something like that. So low. Now it's 12 trillion. What in my opinion the EU should be saying is, if United States is 19 trillion, why can we not be 20 trillion? That's what they're supposed to be saying. And since their focus is more of power and domination and world domination and war and army and all that, we need to let them get on with what they have to do. If that's what they want to do, we need to allow them to get on with what it is that they want to achieve. But we want no part of it. And that is what the Brexit vote was about. I'm going to make, like I said, I'm going to make a video that talks about the no deal and talks about whether or not it's a cliff edge, the different issues that different people have brought about, and what the different solutions to those issues have been. I'm going to make a video about that, but this one is just to say that no deal was already a go for us in the UK. No deal is actually very close to the advanced free trade agreement that we want. In fact, the advanced free trade agreement that we asked for was already on the table before people in the UK decided, elites in the UK decided, no, we want to do it this way, a way that we know that the UK will never agree to, and then hopefully, eventually, because they will never agree to that, maybe we can get them to remain. That's just weak. That's just evil, in my opinion. That is a betrayal of what the people voted for. If the UK leaves, they're still going to get that free trade agreement, and if they get that free trade agreement, they're fine, because all the stuff that we get currently, the yes that we get currently, we have, yeah, in terms of trade, and we have no in terms of the movement of people. We have no in terms of the 15 billion that we have to pay. We have no in terms of this 50 billion. So, who in their right minds will not go for such a deal? Yes, okay, fair enough. Other countries might want to follow suit, but do those countries have a negative, do they have a trade deficit with the EU? I mean, I do not know. That's when that bridge comes, the EU will have to climb it. But in terms of what their vision is, it's the key. In terms of what they did to Greece, compared to the positives, which is things like Erasmus, things like what they've done in Poland, transferring money to Poland for the development of Poland. So there's a lot of positives, but these things that they're thinking about here, it's a waste of everybody's time. Countries are emancipating themselves and leading the world in different areas. You know, countries are improving their GDP ratios. I mean, look at China, for crying out loud. You know, I mean, look at United. I mean, where is Russia? Where is Russia? This Russia. Look, just 1.5 trillion, and they're making all this noise in the world. You know, Canada has a better economy than Russia. What you see, this is what happens when a country is looking for power and is looking for control and economic so power, control, and all these things. Look at the economy of Russia. Look at it. Look at it. Look at how big that country is. What is the population of Russia? Hold on. Let's look at population of Russia. Oh, no. Okay. 143 million people. Almost 144 million people living in Russia. A decreasing population. Yeah? 143 million people. And Japan, we have 126 million people. Look at that. Look at Japan. Japan, this country is all about economic growth. Another country that is about economic growth is these guys. What do you call them? Australia, Canada. Where's Canada? Canada. Canada is traveling around the world getting top level consultants to come to their country to build their country because they're all about economic growth. Yeah? Um, it's fine. But look at Russia. There was a time in the past, look at minus 0.05 growth rate. I mean, what is that all about? Yeah? Um, the population is declining, and when we look at the 1 trillion, 1.5 trillion, yeah, when when Japan, I mean, look at Japan laughs in the face of the United Kingdom. For us as a country, United Kingdom, to be able to speak, you know, this needs to be approximately 6 trillion. It needs to be 3 times what we have here. If Japan is at 5 trillion and China is at 12 trillion, we are at 2.6 trillion. What is that? What is that? Germany, with all their talk, with all their, bravado, they are 3.6 trillion. Look at Japan, 4.8, 4.9, almost 5 trillion. That's what we need to be thinking about. How do we increase the productivity within our nation, within our country? What is good in terms of increasing our productivity, and what is not good? The things that are not good, we get rid of them. The things that are good, we advance them, and that's where I want to leave this. The next video I'm going to make is going to be about the No Deal, trying to further analyze the No Deal to see if or not it is a cliff edge, end of the world, a black moon situation, like many people are saying that it is. I am going to be analyzing the scenario in terms of trade, overall trade. So I'm going to be looking at the trade within the EU, or to the EU by the UK. I'm going to look at the trade with the rest of the world. I'm going to be looking at trade with America. So obviously America is outside of the EU. Um, I'm going to be looking at what is affected, i.e., what is it that we're actually trading. A lot of people are saying if we leave the EU, would the food on the shelf be finished? But those people, they don't seem to understand that the only thing that we buy from the EU when it comes to food is fruit and veg. Okay, we have a shortage of fruit and veg. I mean, there's no point me talking about it now. It's better for me to put all the figures in front of us so that we can actually see what we buy. A lot of people are talking about drugs and things like that. So we need to look at food and clothing, which are the key things. We don't buy clothing from the EU. The euro has removed the ability for the UK to buy clothing from the EU. But those things we'll talk about in another video. Things like drugs and healthcare and things like that. Alright, thanks for watching this video so far. Like I said, the next video will be more about the what's it called, the No Deal, and just trying to further analyze it. I've said a lot about it already, but I think it's going to be good to further analyze it. We've talked about Theresa May. We've talked about so many different issues. Once I believe that once the No Deal scenario is properly analyzed, I think that people will then be able to make an informed decision. Then we will talk about, eventually I will imagine that Theresa May will have to go. So we'll talk about the potential leaders that are available and kind of like break them down and things like that. And then I think the last video I'm going to be making in the series is about just a way forward, um, because a lot of people, they when they look at leaving the EU, they look at leaving a block of 400 million people. The second, as you can see here, when all the trading within the EU is combined together, is second only to America. Um, in terms of GDP, is second only to America.